Fantastic. All right, team, welcome to the Standard Podcast, where we raise the bar, we rebuild the culture, and call out the lies or misconceptions that nobody else will. This isn't motivation, this is a movement. I'm Thomas Rowe, and today I'm joined by my host, Aaron Sarles, and we're sitting down with Chip Reitano, head women's basketball and softball coach at Camden County College with 37 years of coaching experience, approaching 350 wins in basketball. I think we may have eclipsed that by now, and 746 wins across his entire coaching career. Chip has been named High School Coach of the Year 4 times and College Coach of the Year twice. But what defines Chip isn't just the wins and the awards, it's his character and personality, both on and off the playing surface. For nearly 4 decades, Chip has built programs, developed players, and led with integrity. His journey is a masterclass in longevity, leadership, and what it means to raise the standard every single day. We're diving into the truth behind what it really takes to build identity, discipline, and legacy in sports and in life. So let's get into it. Coach, this is round 2. We've done it before when we were on a different link, and we kind of had some static and so forth. Nothing different than as it is in the sports world, right? Sometimes you have to do a do-over or a mulligan. So let's start here. You've been coaching for 37 years, approaching 350 wins. Is that correct? Have you eclipsed that?
Yes, I have 350 now.
Right on. Wins in basketball, 746 wins across your career. You've been Coach of the Year 6 times between high school and college. Tell me, what does raising the standard mean to you after all these years?
I mean, I don't think anything has really changed over the years for me, except I have a lot less hair than I did when I first started.
You and me both.
All right, there we go. I mean, you know, I do this because I love to do it, but, you know, it's always a win for me when I get to see my kids move on, get to see them go to a higher level, get to see them start families, get to, you know, see them start their careers. I mean, I have so many more wins because of the young men and women that I've coached over that 37 years. The 350 and the 746 total is great, but it doesn't eclipse the memories and the wins that I've gotten because of the players that I've coached.
Awesome. Well, that's a really good point. While I bullet pointed your wins, it seems like most of your wins happen off the court, you know, as far as taking these young men and women to become successful adults and pillars in the community, right? What would you say is the biggest lie or misconception you feel the culture of the sports industry sold coaches and athletes about success, winning, and what really matters?
I mean, there's more than one, but, you know, I think the way things are today, I think that the parents and the kids are being sold on what's out there.
Right.
I think you have all these coaches that are, you know, travel ball coaches and, you know, club coaches that are preaching scholarship, but there's only so many of those to go around. And I think that, you know, they're not doing this for the right reason.
Right.
You know, I feel like again, and it's been so long ago, but when I first started and travel ball started to kick off and club ball started to kick off in different sports, it was about teaching these kids, these young boys and girls, how to play that sport. It wasn't about trying to get a scholarship. It wasn't about, you know, being, you know, the best ever. It was about learning how to play, learning how to be coachable, learning how to be a good teammate. And we went away from that. You know, I feel like, you know, I've been involved in the travel world very briefly as a coach and as an advisor. But, you know, I always pride myself on trying not to be hypocritical.
Sure.
And, you know, it's hard for me to be involved in a world that is not out for the best interest 100% of the time of these boys and girls. And, for me, I've won a lot of games. I've lost more than I've liked, but the bottom line is I'm going to do what's best for my players
Right.
100% of the time. And if that means that I take an L because I'm not going to risk or put them in a situation that they're not going to succeed in, then I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I've been around a long time. I know I have a lot of differences of opinions with other coaches, but that's the nature of the profession. But, my priority is always my kids, and that's never going to change. And when it starts to change, if it ever does, I'll be retired.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. That's awesome. And so you're known for you pretty much answered that in your last response, but you're known for your character and personality on and off the playing surface. How did you see this misconception play out in your 37 years? And what truth do you think needs to replace it?
Well, I mean, both of you have been involved in athletics, and you understand at my level, I have to be a salesman as well. When
Sure.
I go out and recruit, I have to sell our program. I have to sell our school. I have to sell our campus. I have to sell myself as a coach. And I'm the first one to tell you, I hate being a salesman.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be upfront with you. We're a Division III program. We don't offer scholarships. Some of these kids that I'm recruiting, I know have opportunities possibly at maybe getting a partial scholarship or even more so. But I I feel that being upfront, being honest, telling these young, impressionable student athletes and their parents the truth, well, they may not want to hear it,
Right.
but that's my personality. I mean, I love to have fun. I'm outgoing. I'm very personable, but I am honest. And I know that not everybody in our profession is like that. And I understand why, also because, a lot of times they're coaching for their livelihood, they're coaching for their jobs. I'm
Right.
confident that I'm not going anywhere until I decide to retire.
Sure.
I'm confident that I've done a good enough job of showing the administration here at Camden County College that I am here for the right reason. I'm here for all the students. My office door is always open. Anybody can come off campus and walk in my office and ask me for advice. They don't have to be one of my athletes. So I think I've established myself the way I do things the right way. And I think if you talk to high school coaches that know me, they'll tell you the same thing, that I don't pull any punches. I don't lie. I don't try to get kids under false pretense to come and play for me, because then when they get here, they're smart enough to realize that I didn't tell them the truth.
Right.
So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that, and I think that if coaches would be more upfront with student athletes and the parents, I think that there wouldn't be as much criticism on our profession as there is.
Hmm.
But I can't say that a lot of it isn't deserved.
Right. No doubt.
That's
Coach, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over to segment two, as I mentioned at when we were off camera, that we're going to go ahead and tag team you. I'm going to turn it over to Aaron for segment two, identity and legacy. Aaron, take it away.
okay. I'll jump in here. That was so well said, what you were just talking about. And I just appreciate your honesty in sharing that with us. So I want to know, and I want our audience to really understand, who are you beyond all the accolades that Thomas has read off for over 37 years? Who is Chip, and how do you define character, integrity, and discipline as part of your legacy?
I mean, honestly, this is who I am. I am the same person with my team that I am with my friends and with my family. My personality never changes. The sarcastic jokes that I make, and I mean, it never changes. But I mean, in one word, if you want to describe me, it's family. I am all about family. I am about, my family is the most important thing to me, and my players are part of that, and they know that. I don't make, I don't make any bones about it. They know how important they are to me, but I feel like that's a big part of why I've had success in my career is because of the way I treat people. I mean, all coaches don't like each other. I mean, there's no hiding that. I mean, there are rough feelings, that go into competitiveness, but I'm always professional with other coaches, whether I agree with them or I don't agree with them. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to change who I am for anybody else. And I feel that, my family and my friends, the people I work with, the athletic administration, the school administration, the the local administration in the small town that I live in, I think they all know me, that this is who I am. And they appreciate that because I'm not fake. I mean, I'm not going to put on a show for anybody. If you don't like something I said, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. But, oh, well, he's right. I mean, I'm not going to, if I do something wrong, I'll be the first one to admit it and I'll apologize for it. But, the things that come out of my mouth are generally calculated. They're not strictly on emotion. I mean, when I'm trying to rile up the officials a little bit, I know exactly what I'm doing. So, but I think, I think I'm true to myself. I like who I am. I wish I was still 6 foot tall, but when you get to be my age, you start to shrink a little bit. And I thought my doctor was lying to me, and I wasn't too happy that day, but I found out I'm 5'11" now, so that's But and then my kids go and buy me a full life cutout of myself for Christmas, and it's 6 foot tall. So I don't know if they were doing that to irritate me or what the situation was. But I mean, I love to talk to people. I love to be out, meeting new people. And I think that's why recruiting is so much fun for me. I went to a game last night and I talked to two girls on one team and one on the other team that were recruiting. And I had a chance to talk to their coach. We talked to people in the stands. I love getting out there. I love meeting people. I love for people to see who I am, because if you come to a game and I'm up and down the sidelines and I got a lot of energy and enthusiasm and I'm going, but if you sit and you have a conversation with me, I'm really not that different. It's just you get to see more of it.
I would love that. I think that's so important. We all should just be ourselves. And I think the people that are meant to be in our orbit or gravitate toward us, they're going to be there. And the ones that aren't, well, that's okay too, and I think that's important. So beyond, I mean, it's so cool that you get to coach both women's basketball and softball at Camden College. What does your legacy at that college, beyond the wins and the championships, what do you want that to be after 37 years? Or how do you want people to describe you when you decide to finally retire?
I hope they remember me, for the person I am.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate, I mean, it's nice to have those accolades, and, hopefully when I'm gone, my kids don't throw them away. But I mean, I think if people will remember me as a good person, somebody that they could come to when they needed something, when they were having problems, struggling for whatever reason, that they could come to me and talk to me. And I would be just like almost like a sounding board. Like I didn't, not to not necessarily for advice all the time, but just for somebody to listen. I want them to remember the type of family man that I am and that I was, when it's all said and done and I'm not doing this anymore. Hopefully they'll stay in touch. They won't forget me when I'm not, patrolling a sideline somewhere or sitting in a dugout. I'm hoping that I still get those phone calls and, the text messages to see how everything's going and, just to say hi, Merry Christmas, whatever the case may be. I mean, it Sunday morning, I'm going to a christening for a former softball player of mine who
Awesome.
her and her husband just had a baby girl. And, those it's that's the things that I'll always remember.
Yep. That's what legacy is about. That's the impact. That is so
Sure.
cool. I love that. So my last question before I give it back to Thomas is, what's one truth you wish younger coaches or athletes understood about building something that lasts or building that legacy?
I really wish that from an athlete standpoint, for the young athlete, I really wish that they wouldn't take a second of it for granted.
Mm.
We're none of us are promised tomorrow. And in the sports world, every athlete is an injury away from never playing again. And I wish that they could have someone tell them, don't waste a second. Make the most of every second you're on that court, out on that field, whatever your sport is, make the most of every second of it and enjoy it. And for young coaches, slow down. Don't go 100 miles an hour, right? You want to have a long career. You don't want to burn yourself out in the first half dozen years that you're a coach because you're trying to go in 10 different directions at the same time. You'll get there, but slow down.
I love that.
Makes total
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
Coach, what we're
Thomas.
going to do is we're going to flip it over to, thank you. Thanks, Aaron. We're going to go into segment 3 here, advice across all stages. This is always a good one. I'm always curious with somebody with your experience and your legacy. If you could sit down with yourself when you first started coaching 37 years ago, what advice would you give that younger version?
Shut up. I think I talked way too much in the beginning, and some of my players will tell you I still do it. But I think in the beginning, the advice that I literally just gave to younger coaches, I would give to myself. I think that I was trying to do too much too soon.
Right.
And once I realized that it was overwhelming to do that, I became more of a student as a coach. I watched everything that my mentors, would show me and what they would tell me, the things they used to tell me. And when I was first starting out, I would remember the advice that they gave me. And I think about that to today, and I still use the advice that, that my mentors gave me back then. The coaches that I worked with when I was an assistant starting out, I used to take little things from every one of them. It may be a practice thing, it may be a game preparation thing, it may be the way they interacted with players. And there were things that I tossed out when I became a head coach, and there were things that I brought with me.
Sure.
And then I put my own style, my own spin. But I think if I had a chance to talk to my younger self, it would be to listen a little bit more and, and don't miss any details, because I'm so about the details now, and I have been for a long time, but in the
Sure.
beginning, I think I was trying to do too much all at one time.
Got it. And now that you've hit 350 basketball wins and 746 total wins, what's the one thing you're trying to make sure the next generation of coaches and athletes understand?
Well, I mean, when you're around as long as I am, sometimes those wins don't look as high as they are because you've been around for so long. But I think, I think if you're looking at my career, I think it's determination, it's drive, it's desire, it's loving what you do, not
Sure.
allowing yourself to, because you lost the game or because you had a rough season, not allowing yourself to not want to do it anymore, not allowing yourself to not love the sport anymore, because those things are going to happen. It's
Right.
great. There are coaches that have unbelievable careers that have won, you know, 15, 20 championships, and they have, well over 1,000 wins, and that's awesome. But that's not reality for most coaches.
Right.
And I think that, you have to take it day by day. I know my team is going to come out tomorrow night when we play and play their butts off. But, you know, I don't know what Friday's practice is going to be like yet, right? We have to see how tomorrow goes. So
Right.
for me, it's taking it day by day, and that's what I preach when I coach. In softball, it's pitch by pitch. In basketball, it's possession by possession.
Sure.
And when you do that, you're able to be in the moment. When you look too far ahead, you lose sight of what you're doing right now.
Sure. That's awesome, Coach. We're going to turn it over to segment 4. Going to turn it over to Erin, where she's going to do the rapid fire round. Go ahead, take it away, Erin.
It's my turn again. I love it. I love being the one that's in charge here, Chip, asking the questions. So I'm going to just say a sentence, and then I'm going to have you finish my sentence with what your thoughts are. So here we go. So, discipline equals
Desire,
I love it. Leadership equals
strength,
ooh, that's a good one. Faith equals
heart,
legacy equals
determination.
he's a determined person. I love it. Hey, I'm the same way. Oh, and I love it. What's one thing you would never compromise on?
My integrity.
There you go.
And what's one message, if you could put it on a billboard for this generation of athletes, what would it be, your coaches? What would your one message be?
Have fun. Enjoy it.
That's
Love
right.
it.
Have fun and enjoy it. Okay, Thomas.
All right, Coach, we're going to go ahead and close you out here with the final 1 or 2 questions. Before we wrap up, is there something we didn't touch on today that you feel coaches or athletes need to hear about longevity, character, or building programs that last?
I just think from a longevity standpoint, I mean, you have to work hard. You have to put the time in, but you can't rush things. It's like building a program from ground zero. You have to mold it the way you want it to be. You have to create an atmosphere that players want to be part of, and it takes time. Not everybody is blessed to be thrown into a situation where you have an all-star team. And when I first started coaching female athletes, which was 26 years ago, it was a program that nobody wanted to touch. The athletic director, when he offered me the position, I thought he was trying to make me run away instead of trying to sell me on being there. But it was a program that was dying and going nowhere, and nobody really, even the kids, wanted nothing to do with it. And to me, it was a challenge. I had never coached female athletes before, and I had an opportunity not only to do so, but to do it where I could mold this program with my footprint on it.
Sure.
And I loved it. And I didn't go home stressing out because we weren't a dynasty day one. It was, I knew what I had in front of me, and I
Uh-huh.
knew what I needed to do. And I think that's, you know, to me, that was one of the greatest things. When I came to Camden County, it was the same thing.
Right.
It was the exact same thing. I started 12 years ago here at Camden County with absolutely no players on the roster when I took over.
Wow.
And, the basketball team took a few years for me to build the recruiting reputation in the area and beyond, and to transform the program into what it is today. The softball program, we were in the championship my second year.
Nice.
And it was the same situation. There were 0 players on that team as well when I took over. So, you just got to put the work in, you got to put the time in, but you have to be patient, because these young athletes are depending on you to guide them in that direction. And if you're stressing out and you're not showing some type of patience, they can't either.
Right. Right. Totally get it. And that's what I think that a lot of young athletes or a lot of young colleges or coaches really don't realize is you got to put in the work. It's there are no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. You can't just cut corners. You're just going to have to do the work. Coach, last question. I always love to put somebody on the hot seat. What are your top 3 sports movies of all time, you personally, for Coach?
Well, Hoosiers with Gene Hackman is number 1. I don't have a second one that's close to that, but I do have a second and third. The Miracle on Ice, the USA hockey team from 1980.
Yeah.
And then Coach Carter. And
Sure.
a lot of that is because I see some of the things I do was very similar to that, things that happened in that movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I quote some lines periodically during games that my assistant coaches know exactly what I'm talking about now. They didn't in the beginning, but they know now when I repeat them. But yeah, those are my top 3 sports movies of all time.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much, Coach. Where can people, if they need to reach out or if they want to reach out, where's the best place for them to get a hold of you, either through email, your website, or social media?
Well, social media, it's at Coach Chip 22. And my email is CREITANO at camdencc.edu. And I know I'm probably crazy for doing this, but my cell number is 267-872-0469. So if any recruits that want to come play for me are watching, hit me up.
Oh, that's awesome. That's it. You're a brave man giving out your cell phone. I appreciate it. Coach, thank you so much for sharing your story and your truth.
My pleasure.
If this conversation challenged you, inspired you, or made you think differently, do 2 things for us, team. 1, we need you to share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. A young coach building a program, an athlete learning what leadership looks like, a parent who wants to understand what sustainable success means. And 2, let's go ahead and connect with Coach on Instagram at CoachChip22 and at CAMDENCC_WBB, and let him know what hit you or what touched you. After 37 years of approaching 746 wins, Coach has proved that character and longevity go hand in hand. And if you're an athlete, parent, or coach ready to raise the standard, check out blueprintbluechip.com. We help athletes build identity, discipline, and legacy that goes far beyond the game. If you're ready to get clear, also check out our website, blueprintbluechip.com. And we have a 3-day reset, win, play, show. And it's designed for athletes who are ready to rebuild their foundation. And if this episode resonated with you, take 30 seconds, team, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps us reach more athletes, parents, and leaders who need to hear this message. This is the Standard Podcast, and this movement only grows when we raise it together. Talent fades, but truth endures. Let's raise the bar, let's rebuild the culture, and let's become the standard. We'll see you next time. Aaron, Coach, thanks so much, you guys, for your time. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.